I'm Liza and this is How To Music, your go-to place for advice on the music industry and having a career as a musician or a singer-songwriter. So I've been thinking a lot about, what would people find interesting and what are people likely to be wanting advice on, and I know that for me at one stage it was finding a manager or getting management, and I used to troll sites, read up on advice, and just kind of be back to square one thinking, well, none of this advice is helpful, it's not applicable to me, what am I doing that's not working, and what can I do to attract a manager? First of all, I'm going to talk about when you need a manager, and I think that's really important because I think a lot of people, they start out playing in a band or they're a singer and they think, oh, I won't be able to do anything on my own without a manager and no one's going to take me seriously. Well, first of all, that's wrong. There's so much you can do independently, and I think that the internet makes that so much easier now than it used to be. There are so many sites where you can promote your music, whether it's Reverb Nation, which is really good, Facebook to a certain extent, Bandzoogle, I think it's called, where you can like upload your own website. So you just Google, build my own website or promote my music, and there are hundreds, literally hundreds and thousands of sites out there. SoundCloud's really good as well. You can upload tracks. It's a very music orientated community. You can share your tracks with other people. People can leave you feedback, let you know what they think, and it's a great way of networking also with other musicians and producers and writers. So you might be able to collaborate with people. But firstly, what I'd say you need to do is assess how you look to a potential manager or management company. And if you're just starting out, then you're looking way too early to be doing this. You need to have gained some experience under your belt, have booked your own shows, promoted your own gigs, started building your own fan base, have a decent set of at least half an hour to an hour of music, and have at least kind of managed to secure yourself good supporting slots with more established bands and acts. And if you're lucky enough to have got yourself headlining acts as well, then what you need to do is make sure that you have a really good following on Facebook. Make sure that you continually engage your audience, get people to like you in exchange for goodies and competitions, keep people interested, do videos like this or giveaways, engage with conversations. So like, for example, the other day, not that it looks like it's winter now here, I needed to get a winter coat and I just couldn't decide on what style, so I uploaded 6 images of coats that I loved and I left a message on it saying, please tell me which one you think I should buy. So it doesn't necessarily have to be about music, but it's engaging somehow in your life, you being a musician and sort of what you're up to. And I ended up having like 30 comments about what coat people thought I should get. So if you don't have anything going on music-wise, like maybe you're not bringing out an album or a single, or you don't have a gig, or you're between gigs, it's nowadays, fortunately or unfortunately, being a musician, being an artist means being good at your craft, writing great music or singing great songs, performing great songs, being really social media savvy, and also being a personality, because because now we have instant access to famous people and to people who have success through online. We know where they are, what they're doing, who they're with, who they're, you know, dating, what they're wearing, what they like to eat. I mean, it has to be the kind of whole package as far as selling yourself. And yeah, I'm totally pro talent should kind of pull through everything, and that should be all that matters. It does matter, and obviously if you can't play your instrument or you can't sing, then no one's really going to have the time of day for you. But I'm afraid we do live in a society where looks and how you kind of portray yourself really matters, and that's all part of selling yourself. So, the key things you need to have up and ready and running are the following, and this is before you even consider management. You need to have your own website, and this is your calling card, this is your business card, this is what you've decided to put up online to represent yourself. So you need to have images, music, a biography, reviews, so any press, somewhere people can buy your music from if you've got something to sell, and also links to all your social media. So you also need to be on Facebook. Use both your personal page and your make page, you know, as an artist. I use both now. I don't really use Facebook much for social reasons. I use it purely to promote my music. But what I didn't want to do was close my sort of everyday profile, which had in excess of over 500 people on it, and lose that contact with them. So I now use both my personal page and my artist page. You want to be on YouTube, have your own channel. I've got two, which I'll list all these below so you can check out what I've been up to, which might help you. I've got one which is purely just has my music videos on and any live footage taken of gigs, just for that. And then I've recently created obviously this channel, which is Liza How To Music, and that was all to give tutorials and videos and other stuff that I didn't want to bother my like my main fans with so much. This is really more for other musicians who are trying to sort of get some kind of success like me. So you've got your website, you've got your social media set up. Reverb Nation's really good. I do have a profile on there. They are always modernising all their like apps, and it's pretty good actually, but I'd always like to keep my own website. You want to use Twitter as much as possible. I've really got into it recently. It's great for engaging new audiences, new fans, and start at home. Start tweeting about where you live and what you love, and find hashtags and bloggers that live in your local area who you can mention in a tweet, and make sure that you also praise and you follow other people, because if you're just expecting everyone to follow you, it's not going to happen. You need to kind of engage with people. I had a independent manager that I met through a drummer 4 years ago, and that was really when I had, you know, done quite a fair amount of performing, and I was really serious about trying to push my career forward. And he was at a similar point too. He'd managed some other bands, and so we joined forces. And for 2.5 years, I think, he was my manager, and we grew a lot together. We learned a lot together, but ultimately, there were two reasons why we parted. One was because we both had different visions of where we saw my career going, and that's very important that you have the same, or certainly you're on the same track. And the second thing was, as ambitious as he was, and I really admired that in him, he was limited with the resources he had, and that wasn't his fault. It was just that he was trying to generate opportunities off his own back, which you can do to a certain extent, but he had no real prior experience of either working in the music industry or knowing that many people that did. I mean, he worked really well with what he had, but I knew in order to progress further, I needed to be working with people that could help me with the next stage of my career. So I parted company with him in September 2011, which was really daunting because even if someone's not right for you, it's really scary going it alone, and I'd already been alone before then, and I just thought, oh no, I'm just having to do this all on my own again. But I thought, well, look, I'm going to do everything I can in my power to make myself as attractive to a potential manager. I'm going to do everything I can and do within my power on my own up until the point where, you know, I run out of road, basically, and hopefully something will come up by that point, which probably wasn't a very good business plan, but it was okay in the end. And I decided to reform a new band, get the right kind of people on board, which I did, which was great. I started being really picky about where I gigged, because I'd taken any old gig before and got good feedback and people liked me, but I was playing on nights when it was like a rock night, and it's just pointless because I'm not in a rock genre, and I don't want to be a warm-up band, and that's fine when you're starting out, but I needed to be showcased amongst my peers, so enough difference between me and other acts, but that we complemented each other. And I also wanted to play in venues where there was a much higher standard of musicianship, you know, like anywhere that can be diluted a bit, the bigger the place you live in, the bigger the city. There's so many venues in London, and kind of any old person can perform, which is great to a certain extent, but it means that it doesn't filter out who's good and who's, you know, who's not. So I started being really focused on where I performed. I checked out some promoters that I admired, the acts that they sort of worked with, started working with them, started negotiating my own terms in which I sold my tickets. And then really I felt if I was going to get any kind of UK exposure, I needed to get into festivals, and that was something that my previous manager had never managed to do. And being quite sort of strong-willed and determined, I decided to set about securing festivals for 2012, which I did, and I got 9 festivals, of which I did 6, I think, in the end. Some were cancelled and some were too far away to go to, that it wasn't sort of economically, it didn't make sense. So I did all of that on my own. I managed to get festivals on my own. So it just goes to show you that you don't need a manager to have other success. But I knew I was at a point where I needed other people around me to bounce ideas off. I needed people with more experience. I needed to be nurtured. I needed my talent to be developed. And I also needed someone else taking away all the stress of booking shows, organising them, trying to promote me, so I could focus on writing. So I got my current management through doing a support gig, and it was through a promoter, and I said, look, I want a support slot for someone really good. And I was offered, and I was hungry and really determined for it, like I'm pretty feisty with what I want, so that does help. And I ended up supporting Aziz Ibrahim, who previously was a guitarist for the Stone Roses, but has also written and performed with Paul Weller, Simply Red, Ocean, a whole host of people. I'll put a link so you can check him out, he's great. I ended up supporting him and sort of chatting to him afterwards and getting a photo with my band and everything, and he said, you know, you're really great, I think you're going to go really far, and, you know, keep at it. So I was just really excited that I got this support gig, and I wanted to secure another one with him because I thought he was amazing, and it'd been a long time since I'd supported anyone that I really thought was that good. So I had already contacted one of his managers prior to that gig, befriended her on Facebook, and after the gig I messaged both of them to say thank you so much for the opportunity. I had a great time. I'd love to support Aziz again. And she replied, yes, you know, we really liked your set, that sounds great, and sort of started getting into a bit of a dialogue with each other. And then I thought, well, I could use this opportunity to ask her and get feedback on what I might not be doing or what I'm missing to make me more appealing to a new manager. So I just politely asked, you know, I thought, well, if you don't ask, you don't get, and just sent her a message over Facebook and said, you know, I'm really grateful for the opportunity. I'd find it really helpful and useful if you could give me any feedback on where you think I might be going wrong, or what I'm missing, or what else I could be doing. I'm currently looking for management, and I just want to know if there's anything that that I'm not doing that I should be doing to attract a new manager or a new management company. And prior to that, I had emailed and called loads of management companies and had no luck. So I was getting to the point where I was thinking, maybe it's not going to happen, you know. What I didn't know was that her and another manager were there on the night with Aziz, and they were all dotted in different places around the venue, and they all watched my whole set, and they'd got together afterwards, and Aziz had said, you've got to manage that girl, we have to work with her, she's really, really good, she's going somewhere. And they'd already decided they were going to contact me, and I didn't know any of this at the time. Anyway, I then got a reply from her saying, yes, you know, he'd love to chat to you, and you know, be happy to discuss that with you. My other colleague will give you a call. What's a good time, or something like that? Or did they give me his number? I can't remember. Anyway, we ended up talking. Spoke a lot about the music business. It was just really nice to have a general chat with someone else who's, you know, in music. And then about half an hour into the conversation, after just chatting our heads off, one of these managers said, so what do you think? What do you think about this? And I was just like, well, yeah, it's really interesting, and it's been really fascinating talking. He said, well, no, Liza, what do you think about us managing you? So it didn't happen at all how I expected it to. And I went from there to having no management, 2 managers, and that was in May 2012 this year, and I'm still with the same management company. But I think what I certainly could pass on to anyone watching this is that creating opportunities where you are in the right place at the right time is key, and supporting established acts will give you exposure to their management companies, their managers, and to people that work with them. But also, people do look for acts to manage, but there's got to be a lot to get people to come out on a Tuesday night or a Friday night, give up their evening after work to come and see a band they don't know anything about. They will have already checked you out. They would have already probably had tip-offs from other people. I think it's about using the resources you have and not assuming that promoters only know about promoting. They have many contacts both in A&R, music management. They'll know other established acts, and I think it's about asking and not being afraid to say, look, I've been gigging for ages, I really want a really good support slot, you know, I won't let you down, I'll do a great job. And if you've already got a proven track, then, and they think you're good, the promoter thinks you're good, then they're going to put you up for a support slot. So I think it's doing everything you can yourself, being sort of, get over the fact that you have to kind of be a jack of all trades, because that's just how it is now. You have to be good at building a website or get it done. You have to have good photographs. You need to have up-to-date, interesting social media profiles. You need to engage. It's not going to come to you, however talented you are. You've got to, actively get out there. So yeah, I hope that helps a bit. There's no easy way of getting management, but I think being ready is the key thing, because what will happen is a short discussion with someone who potentially wants to manage you, a lot will come out in that, and they will probe and ask you lots of questions that you need to already know the answers to. If you're feeling stuck and you don't know where to begin, and you've got some of the things, like maybe you have a website and you have a Twitter page, but you don't know how you want to brand yourself, I will do another video on that. But one place I would suggest you start is just get a piece of black or white card from your local stationers, get yourself some glue, or sellotape if you want, but it'll be more work with sellotape. Look through magazines, look through websites. What are you drawn to as far as the clothes you like, the image that you generally have? One person gave me really good advice, and that was never wear what you wear on stage in normal life. Even if it is just a twist on your normal clothes, there needs to be something different about what you wear on stage, and that's where you can take risks. And that does mean being brave, and that can be a bit scary at times. But if you just don't naturally have a style, or you want to invent and create one, then start a mood board. Get your piece of card from your stationers, cut out images from magazines that you really like, and start to see where there's like a correlation between all of them. Try not to jump on current trends. So like, for example, there was the whole, I know vintage is still really in, and I wear a lot of vintage clothes, but there's always some people that kind of take it to the extremes. There are some people that only wear like 50s clothes, or like rockabilly or rockability or whatever it is. That trend has passed now, and there are some people that will keep wearing those clothes, and that's great. But what you don't want is a trend that sets you apart too much, in the sense that it's something that was in over a year ago or 2 years ago. You want to go for a look that's fairly current, but you have your own twist on it. You do your own thing. So even if, like, for example, bowler hats or these kind of hats are really in, make a twist on it. Get a really funky feather. Get, like, I've got this, I think it's a tie clip. I don't know if you can see that. Anyway, I inherited that from my auntie, who owned one of the biggest dance schools in Birmingham, and she'd been a prima ballerina, and it's actually got ballet dancers on it, and I inherited that amongst a few other things when I was like 11, 12, and I've kept it all these years, not really knowing kind of what to do with it, but I always liked it, and so I just popped it on my hat. So you can follow current fashion, and I do, because I love a lot of current fashion, but you've got to make it individual and put your own kind of flair on it. But no doubt I have not answered lots of questions and queries, and it's hard to know how detailed or how broad to go, or where you might be at this stage in your career. But don't be downhearted. It is possible. You don't have to have a label or even management to have success. You just have to be really determined and be really savvy, and keep reminding yourself that it's a music business. It is a business, so you need to have goals that you set. You need to be ambitious and driven, and don't be put off if you get some knockbacks, because anybody who's successful or been successful in life has had knockbacks, and it's what makes you stronger. And really, if this is something you want to do seriously, then you have to be really, really tough-skinned, really hard-skinned and believe enough in yourself that you just keep going for it. So I hope this has been helpful. Thank you for tuning in, and please, no doubt I haven't answered your questions, or I've been too vague on something, so please leave a message or comment, and I will do video replies or reply in person or through private message or whatever you want. So thanks so much for watching. My name's Liza Finn and this has been How To Music on how to get a manager. Bye!